Hi there, welcome to NPC Markets Bulls versus Bears podcast, but special edition here with Hercules, the CEO of Jaggards Gold. And today we're going to be discussing buying physical bullion, both gold, silver, platinum, everything, coins, etc. Welcome.
Thank you. Thanks for having me. It's great to be here.
And JT as well, Team Gold over here.
Thanks for having me as well. And yeah, great to be in a place where there's gold bugs everywhere.
Yeah, absolutely. And we've got a wad full of $100 bills. We're using these as napkins. Essentially, we've been talking about the store of value trade for quite some time.
Mm-hmm.
We've had a lot of client interest and a lot of viewers of our content interest in physical. But firstly, tell us about Jaggards and how it all started, and we'll get on to the exciting part of buying some physical.
Yeah, terrific. Well, Jaggards started in 1963. Founder Robert Jaggard was the guy who kicked it all off. Back then Jaggards was pretty different to what it is now. So originally was more of a numismatic kind of house where the products that he primarily dealt with were, I guess, numismatics, for lack of a better term. So rare coins and banknotes, and has progressively over the years kind of morphed into more of a bullion house. Robert was involved in quite a number of different things. In many ways, he was almost like the godfather or grandfather to the numismatic industry in Australia. And also was the guy who actually helped the Perth Mint kick off their bullion program in Australia as well. So pretty influential, very important. And, when Robert decided to retire, we kind of picked up the mantle and ran with it. And since 2016, we've actually, continued to, hold that legacy in good stead. And we've continued to grow, and we've continued to, I guess, do what Robert has always wanted to do. And here we are at the peak of the bullion market, where Robert has always wanted to be.
Mm-hmm. Well, if you came on in 2016, you've been waiting a while, but
Yep.
But finally getting a good run. And just for layman's term, numismatic, so that's when money actually used to be worth what it was worth?
Yeah, it was
kind of the easiest term, in a way?
In a way, kind of. Look, numismatics is more the study of money. And I think it more applies to products or items where there's more than just the intrinsic value. So as an example, a gold sovereign is worth far more than just its gold content.
Yeah.
So right now, a gold sovereign's worth $1,400 worth of gold, right? 22 carat, 7.98 grams. But we do have some sovereigns that trade well above those prices. In fact, they're worth like thousands, if not tens of thousands and millions of dollars.
Yep.
Depending on the rarity, the year, the condition of the coin. So those products are a very different kind of ball game compared to bullion, where it's literally traded, bought and sold based on metal value alone.
So it's almost like art in that case.
Yeah, it's exactly like that. Yeah, it's exactly like that. And in most cases, these collectors buy these products because they have an affinity to history, and the product represents a piece of that history. And so we do have a lot of people that buy these products and are looking to complete, as an example, complete sovereign sets. So all the way from the early or the late 1800s all the way up to, the late 30s, early 30s, I should say, from the, the original Sydney Mints and the Elizabeth sovereigns to King George and all the monarchs in between, all the headsets, all the different types and years. So very, very different to bullion, where it's kind of all the same. In many respects, just different form factors, right?
Well, yeah, look, as we've, and we had a discussion coming on, and, a lot of the demand at the moment is driven by possibly more of a lack of trust in the US dollar. And I think, I'm going to beat the drum for Team Silver here, but obviously solar is a big industrial use, and electronics, etc., is driving demand for silver as well.
Sure.
So, but I like my commodities with the supply demand curve, and where that industrial use driving higher is kind of why I've sort of taken that side. But obviously the gold to silver ratio as well, which is
so I like my commodities where the biggest players have a printing machine. So that's why I'm on.
So we're both right.
Yeah.
But the coins and collectibles thing particularly sort of interests me. Like, my mother-in-law, I buy a historical, only a very small historical coin every year, but they actually are. It's genuinely it is genuine silver. It was a papal coin or something. I think I got it last year, and albeit only the size of a 10-cent piece. For those of you from the younger audience, a 10-cent piece is a coin that's about so big. You probably haven't seen a 10-cent piece before.
I think most of them have, but what they wouldn't be aware of are the copper coins that we used to have, the 1 and 2 cent coins.
But they had nickel in them as well.
That's right.
And the nickel squeeze was on. They were worth a hell of a lot more than.
Okay.
And even the 20s and 50s have nickel in them because it's for lack of erosion. They were worth. For the first time in about 50 years, they were worth more in the metal that was in them.
Well, here's something pretty interesting. I'm not sure if you're aware of the 1966 50 round cent piece.
Yes, I have heard that. Yeah.
So that's basically, we buy those based on metal content, right? So silver.
Yeah, right.
And those coins are worth about $18-19 each.
Yeah, there you go.
So a 50-cent piece worth 18. That's a pretty good deal.
Absolutely, yeah. So and I mean, look, the Romans did their own version of QE where they started diluting the silver. So it's not like central banks have not tried to dilute the money supply before.
Yeah, absolutely.
Let's just hope it doesn't end the same way for.
I think that's where we are. Well, that's one of the reasons why we are where we are, right? With the prices being where they are.
Absolutely, yeah. And you start paying your soldiers in diluted silver, all of a sudden. All of a sudden, they get a little bit angry with you.
As soon as you start seeing governments coming out with holes in their coins, you realise that something's really wrong.
Yeah, absolutely. So, but I mean, look, as much as people joke about it, the lines are real. I remember coming up here a few weeks ago when we had our first chat, and I barely could get in the room. I could barely get in the foyer.
So, interesting story. When the lines were breaking out and the bedlam was spreading, and Channel 7 and 9 was parked up front of ABC Bullion, I had a phone call from my brother. And the call went something like, so tell me, is that AI generated? It's not real, right? So, yeah, look, most people probably don't understand how real they are. Like, it's not made up. It is real. The lines and the queues are long. More importantly, those are looking to place orders. You can expect long lead times and delivery times with some of the metal because the refiners are just been put through their paces. And most of them are working 24/7, 7 days a week, just to be able to produce the volume of quantity needed to fulfill orders. So we've got thousands of orders that we're kind of fulfilling daily. And unfortunately, we're now kind of at this point where we're waiting for metal to come in to fulfill more orders.
Yeah.
So, I mean, it's a good problem to have, but it's also a bad problem to have in that, we try to be as transparent with our customers about lead times. And for the most part, we're fulfilling as, we've been saying. But there is an element of, I wouldn't say risk, but some of the SLAs might kind of go a little bit longer simply because, again, we're kind of at the behest of the refiners. We're waiting on supply.
So when you come in and buy, are you buying at that price that day, and then the lead is just on when the metal arrives?
Yeah, correct. Yeah, correct.
So you're not paying the price on the lead time. So I think that's a really important thing for. I mean, I suppose that would reduce the line somewhat. If people knew that they were locking in their price. But just to run us through, because there's a lot of sort of confusion as to how to buy it, how it's vaulted, insurance, and all sorts of things. I've in the past, I've just basically sent a link to people and gone, you can buy your bullion here. And I've had a client go, well, what am I going to do? I can't that's a dodgy part of Brisbane. I can't just walk out. So just run us through how it's really easy. I've done it before in the past. Probably early, maybe 2010 or thereabouts. But just it's much simpler than people expect.
Look, it's the example that I always use is it's no different to buying a pair of shoes online. It is that pretty much straightforward. The process is the same. You add something to your cart. So let's go through the process. You can actually buy in store and you can actually buy online. So let's focus online to start with. We're noticing that there are more and more transactions online, and that's because we allow customers to buy 24 hours a day, 7 days a week. So,
and they avoid the lines.
And they avoid the lines, yeah, absolutely. And in most cases, customers actually get it delivered to them as well, fully insured as well. So when you are buying online, it's really as simple as, looking through our extensive product range, selecting the product that you want, adding it to your cart, and going through the checkout process as you would buying, anything from Officeworks or any other, e-commerce or, normal retailer for that matter. Obviously, there are some quirks with the business that we are and some of the laws that we need to abide by with regards to anti-money laundering and know your customer. So, in some cases, we may ask for some more information that some people might find a little bit too sensitive. Case in point, if you're buying above $5,000, you do need to get verified. So we will ask for driver's license and passport. but it isn't information that we keep or collect or hold on file. It's literally just passed through a secured service, and it just tells us and confirms whether or not you're real. And basically that's kind of it. And then you do that once, your account's forever open, and you can buy as much as you want.
And 99.9% of the population have got nothing to hide, so it's not that big of a deal.
And I think what people need to understand is we're trying to keep the bad element away, right? We try to do the right thing, but there's a lot of imposters, there's a lot of fraudsters out there as well, and kind of by doing that, it helps us mitigate and reduce the risk on that front, which is really, really important for us. So online, it's really that simple. You check out, when you're checking out, you have the option, you mentioned vaulting.
Yep.
And basically what customers do when they, the order's ready for collection. So we have 3 options. You can either collect in store. So when your order is ready, we will shoot you an email, let you know it's ready. And it's literally as easy as walking in with a form of ID. You pick it up and you walk out with it. Now, what you do with it from that point is your business. We don't ask. We don't want customers telling us where they're storing it for obvious reasons. The second option is for us to send it out to you by a secured courier.
Yep.
So there is an expectation that you will be home to sign, because you do need to sign for this parcel.
It'd be a pretty important package to sign for.
Yeah, well,
So that's where it differs from sneakers. So
you would be, maybe you wouldn't be surprised at how many people aren't home to get their parcel. Despite the fact that we actually call them and send them emails to let them know that it's there. And some of these parcels are pretty, valuable. So with that process, it is fully insured.
Yeah.
Right? So we offer that as part of the cost of the service. And the third option, which we're seeing more and more interest in, is the vaulting service. So we provide what we call a concierge vaulting service, where we're responsible for the movement of all your metals from start to finish. And the way it kind of works is what we call pool allocated. So your metal that you buy is effectively yours. That metal that's assigned to you, whether it be 100-gram bars, 1-ounce coins, in whatever form you've bought, is yours. And we parcel that up, we seal it off, and we move it into our vault, and we basically leave it in there until such time that you're prepared to either collect it or you want to sell it. There is a fee for that service. It's typically 1% for silver, and it's 0.5% for gold, and that is based on the value at that point in time.
Okay.
And so what we do is we revalue that at the beginning of every financial year, and we just send you a new invoice.
Yep.
Now the
So
benefit
is that 1% per annum?
per annum,
Yeah.
per annum, yeah. So, and look, the really nice thing about that is it's super convenient. So, we deal with a lot of customers that are not Sydney based, and so we take the hassle out of them having to worry about, how do I move my metal? How do I get it from here to there? More importantly, how do you deal with the sale of the metal, right? Which is something that a lot of people overlook, and it is an important part to consider. When you're selling your metal, because it is in our vault, it's literally a phone call or an email, and we basically lock in a rate. And then what we do is we move the metal out, and we, transfer the funds into your account for that sale.
And I mean, if you're looking at, even ETFs, you're probably getting charged 0.6, 0.7 management fee a year for most of those gold ETFs.
Exactly.
And
And then, when I heard 1%, I'm like, we charge 1%.
Yeah, exactly.
Well,
so,
look, it's reasonable, especially considering that there's a lot of risk with what we do, but more importantly, that it's fully insured.
Yeah.
Right.
Yeah.
So there's no, there really is, the downside to the customer is, nothing pretty much.
Yeah, like you say, if you're not in Sydney particularly,
Correct.
I mean, there's not many places, even the bigger, even the ABCs of the world, like, I think they're not everywhere.
No.
So anyone who's not in a major metropolitan area, I mean, you if you want to offload it and then you need to do it quickly, I mean, that's a great option, basically.
Look, we kind of try to make it easy for customers, and I think that's the reason why we've structured that service that way. We also offer customers, as an example, if you buy, 50 kilos of silver, say, and you don't want to sell all of it, you can sell parts of it. You don't have to sell all of it. So we kind of try to make it as convenient and easy for them as possible.
Yeah, and I mean, and 50 kilos of silver, people could genuinely be looking at buying that. I mean, it's 90 to 1. It's 80 or 90 to 1 or something at the moment to the gold price. So, I mean, if you're buying a couple of kilos of silver, you're probably buying nearly 30 or 40 kilos of gold. Of silver. I mean, the gold bar's probably pretty easy to hide a kilo of gold. but 40 kilos of silver, you're probably getting...
I mean, a kilo of gold is literally the same size as a mobile phone.
It's
just heavier.
Your iPhone,
right?
Yeah.
So
a lot more dense.
A lot more dense, yeah. So, and that's the reason why the fees kind of are structured that way, because, silver's a much bulkier metal, and you can get far more for the same value that you would for gold.
Yeah.
So, And so that's kind of the online process.
Yep.
Right now, the install process is just as easy. We're open Monday to Friday from 9 to 4:30, and during those hours, anyone can walk in and just buy over the counter, so long as it's obviously in stock.
Yeah.
So if it is in stock, we offer 2 payment methods. You can pay by cash up to $10,000. You can do bank transfer, and we only release the goods once the funds have cleared in our account, but your rates are still locked in. And the third option is via credit card, which obviously does incur a surcharge, and we don't recommend, but the option is there.
Yeah, you're hard pressed to get $10,000 out of the bank these days, even if it's your own money. So you don't dare say it'll be bank transfer.
You probably might need to give them 3 days' notice or something.
Oh, absolutely. Yeah. So
true.
Yeah, but like, for instance, there's minted bars, there's Swiss PAMP, there's So there's not. I mean, it sounds like there might be a lot of difference, but there's not really. They're all fine. They're 99.99, etc. Like they're all similar. What's the difference, essentially?
So the form factor, I guess, is the difference. And in many ways, it's almost like, what's the difference between a Mercedes-Benz and a BMW, right? They're both cars, 4-wheel steering wheels, kind of, drive quite reasonably well. Precious metals is, in that respect, is kind of the same. The difference is price points, right? And you need to consider that a lot of these products, the production process involved in some is far more intricate and detailed. And so there are additional premiums to get that refined metal into the form that you're buying. So we look at kind of the 3 key forms, and you've got cast bars, which is probably the crudest form, the easiest to make, the cheapest to make. And so therefore the premiums and the spreads between the spot and the sale reflect that, right?
And they're the ones that look a little bit rougher, right?
Yeah, they look a little bit rougher, but they're more tactile, and some people actually appreciate the fact that you can touch them and play with them, right? I wouldn't drop them because it's a very soft metal, 24 karat, and if you do drop it, it will kind of deform. I wouldn't bite it because you will leave your teeth marks in it. That is true. It's not an old lifestyle. So a lot of customers who, I guess, are looking for, value for money, bang for buck, go down that cast bar range because it's got the smallest premium. In between, we're kind of looking at a mid-tier product or a medium-tier product is what we call the minted bars. And my apologies, I should have actually had some products here to show you guys.
That's all right.
And maybe while we're kind of talking, we might be able to actually arrange that. We'll see how we go. But
you've got this on the table. This is what we're trying to get away from. So for those, it's some fake $100 bills, US dollars. So
the minted bars are aesthetically far more pleasing, right? They come packaged, they come serialized. And as a result of that, they do incur more costs. So the cost of producing a cast bar versus a minted bar, there is a discernible difference. And when you see the product, you actually will understand what I'm referring to and how it means. And then the third is, and by far the most expensive or premium product, is what we call the coins. So the coins are, again, the form factor is completely different. The way that the product is actually produced is different. So the process itself, the extrusion, the blanking, they bathe them, they dip them in all sorts of solutions to clean them and purify them. They then strike them, and then they capsulate them. So each coin is individually capsulated as well.
Yeah, okay.
And the detail on the coin is far cleaner and better than any other.
Some of the coins are magnificent. We're just having a look in the showroom. We'll probably put up I took a couple of photos of them.
Terrific.
And we'll chuck them up on the slides on the podcast. But they're I mean, if you're going to go and buy physical, there's got to be a certain element of romance to it.
There is. I mean, look, there really is. And so we kind of see customers that will come in and do a variety of things. If you're starting out, most people will kind of go cast bars because that's just what I want. But then if you've been buying for a couple of months or a few years, you kind of go, you know what, I wouldn't mind something a little bit different. And then you see them venturing into the minted bars, and then you see them venturing into the coins as well. So they like to spread across everything. And look, a lot of people also buy for gifts. A lot of people buy because they might want to travel one day and sell it overseas. And when you're kind of doing these things, I think that the minted bars and the coins actually offer you a better solution. They're better, internationally better. They're more recognized.
Yeah. Okay.
And there's a level of comfort around the fact that they are more difficult to forge, right? Especially the coins, right? We know that there are fake bars on the market, but the coins.
Well, that was when I owned a futures proprietary trading house, and so I bought it was effectively left for margin, and it was Swiss PAMP because I don't know whether this was just marketing or whether it's actually true or not, but it's the most accepted money from all banks in the world. If it's Swiss PAMP, it's because they've got a serial number on them as well.
They've actually got something better. So let's kind of dig into this one because it's a really good point you make.
Yeah.
There is a difference between brand too.
Yeah, okay, right.
So you've got the metal and you've got the different types of metal, right? Fundamentally, it's all 4/9s, 1 ounce pure gold. But then you have the brand. So you've got ABC, who is one of the biggest refiners on the east coast of Australia. You've got the Perth Mint, who is the biggest refiner on the west coast of Australia. And then you have people like PAMP, who, you know, in my mind anyway, are probably the number one refiner in the world or brand in the world anyway.
Yeah.
You know, and right across, you know, multiple, like any country in the world, that Lady Fortuna brand is recognized everywhere.
Yeah.
Right. So you could take that anywhere and people go, yep, I know what that is.
Yeah. So I think the lime is the most accepted form of money in the world.
Absolutely.
Everyone takes it.
And so as a result of them being so recognized, you know, the counterfeiters try to kind of replicate their bars. And so, you know, PAMP being PAMP and trying to kind of be ahead of the curve, actually developed a system called Veriscan. And so on the back of each of their bars, there is a QR code that is assigned to that bar, specific bar. And so if you download the app for free on iOS and Android, you can actually scan that and you can confirm that the bar you're buying is real.
Wow.
Right. So it is kind of a...
You don't want to put your teeth into that and ruin the QR code.
No. Well, and this is why we also kind of tell customers, like, the way that you keep the bars and the way that you present them back when you're selling them to us does matter. Like if you've damaged the packaging, if you have, you know, destroyed the product, then we can't resell that as a buyback, right? Because the customer on the other end wouldn't accept it.
So if you're clumsy, you go cast bars.
Yeah, and I think we might actually have. Here we go. Fantastic. Thank you so much. So here we go. So this is what I was referring to. So let's do it in order. This way. Sorry, all over the place. So in front of us, we've got the Perth Mint 1 ounce cast bar.
Yeah.
And you can see what I mean. Like, it's still a beautiful product. And you guys, have a go. It's a beautiful product. It does everything that it should do.
So this is roughly 6,000 Aussie at the moment?
6,200 Aussie at the moment.
Okay,
correct.
there you go.
Yeah. And so 1 ounce, 4/9s. It's got the insignia of Perth Mint, which is equivalent to, you know, this. Well, actually, no, this is a 100 gram PAMP Swiss Fortuna bar. And you can see on the back here, that's the QR code that I was referring to.
Oh, there you go. Yeah, right.
So you can actually scan that and you can download it and see and confirm that the bars that you're actually buying are authentic and real.
And we'll give a couple of close-ups of these and we'll take a couple of photos, but they're but that's actually quite beautiful, isn't it?
It's one of the most striking.
Yeah, that's
bars
really lovely.
And you can actually see, this is what I mean, like, look at the form factor. There's a huge difference between the way the products are presented. So no packaging, really crude.
Yep.
The design on here, superb. The strike, so that's struck twice. And on the reverse, the mirror finish is, you know, it's, again,
it's kind of impressive.
Beautiful.
But if you're paying if you're paying a premium, you want the premium products.
Well, I mean, look, from you know, again, from my perspective, we've dealt with quite a number of brands throughout the years, and every time we kind of have this conversation about what is the best brand, what is the best product, PAMP is always up there.
Yeah, right.
Right. Is always up there. And I mean, look, the Perth Mint is not far behind.
Okay.
So when you're talking about coins, I think that the Perth Mint produce one of the best gold coins in the world.
Yeah, right.
Right.
Okay.
So every year they do like a Lunar series and a Kangaroo series. The Lunar series has a limited mintage. So some people buy them because they want to collect 12 in a set, because every year and every 12 years is a lunar calendar.
Oh, yeah, right. Okay, yep.
And so we have already sold out of all the horse coins, which were for next year.
Oh, right.
So we don't have any more left. But
is that sort of waiting list sort of thing, or?
No, it's first come, first serve.
Yeah, right. Okay.
So we get a very small allocation every year, first come, first serve.
Okay.
Yeah, but the Kangaroo coin, they make infinite quantity throughout the course of the year, and you can get as many as you like. But again, one of the other differences between the coins and the bars is these coins actually do have a face value. So
right. Okay.
It's a nominal value, $100, which is nowhere near what the coin really represents. Right, but
it is legal tender as well.
Exactly.
Yeah.
Exactly. So, very, very different kind of way of looking at it. And this is the kilo that I was telling you about. So that's about 200 grand in my hands. Yeah. Which is kind of insane.
It is. Well, it is insane.
Yeah.
Here we go.
I remember when I did I had Swiss PAMP, but I think it was only 60 at the time. And yeah, I mean, it's the size of an iPhone, but well,
Yeah,
but
it's
a lot heavier. So yeah, we'll get a little photo, and then so that makes that stack look silly. So particularly if they just keep photocopying them.
So I remember when we first kind of took over Jaggards in 2016, we were buying those kilo bars for $42,000.
Yeah, right. Yeah, no,
so it's come a long way in the last 9 years.
Yeah, mine went when I sold the business, and I think it was more. I made more out of the Aussie dollar by that stage than the Aussie dollar movement that I did out of the gold because it was basically it peaked in 2011. I think I bought basically after that, but it was just for security.
But I think that is actually something that might be worth talking about, because when people buy gold in Aussie dollars, they don't actually understand that it is the exchange rate as well as the gold price that affects what happens to the price.
Yes, so we always quote in US dollars, whereas you guys obviously.
Well, if we quoted in US dollars, people would be scratching their heads thinking they're getting a discount.
Precisely.
So it wouldn't work for us.
It because you've always got to quote. I mean, even when we're dealing in US stocks, we tell the clients we're always talking in Aussie dollars. We're never talking in US dollars. Because you've got to be clear about that, because
absolutely
it can be a pretty big difference at times. And I think the Aussie dollar basically plummeted, and that was, I think that was what I ended up making a little bit of money out of.
Exactly.
But and that's a Perth Mint, is it?
That's the Perth Mint. That's the Perth Mint. Yeah, so the swan is their emblem. And so when you're buying products, right, irrespective of size, irrespective of form factor, there are a few things that you should absolutely include and make sure that each of your products have. So the first thing is the hallmark. So make sure that it's struck and it's stamped with their insignia. No insignia, it's probably not the real thing. It should clearly outline the weight. So you can see here 1 kilo. It should tell you whether it's gold or silver. In some cases it doesn't, because it's pretty obvious. But typically speaking, it is there. And
some customers might be colourblind.
True. So I mean, a kilo of silver is pretty different to a kilo of gold, right? So you wouldn't want to be dudded.
Well, how much more volume is silver?
It's probably twice as thick.
About twice, okay.
Twice as thick, So the density of gold is,
and hence why the warehousing is double the price as well, because it takes up more space.
Well, let's think about it, right? So this is roughly 200,000, right? A kilo of silver is what, 2,700 a kilo? So you can get, how many is that? That's what, 80, 90 kilos equivalent to, that's a lot of silver compared to one little bar in your pocket.
Definitely, and obviously it's on the what you're paying for the total nominal value that you're buying. That takes up a hell of a lot more room.
It definitely does, And so finally, make sure that the fineness of the metals is there. So everything is stamped. So Perth Mint produce 4 nines gold and silver, depending on the product. I think it's 3 or 4 nines as well. So they've gone up another 9. Historically, they were 3, but I think they're 4 now.
No worries.
Well, I mean, I reckon that's a great starting point. I mean, as Hercules said, it's so easy to actually just buy it. And this is what you're getting.
Well, yeah, exactly. And I'm just going to take a little photo, because I'm sure that they want to probably get this back to the vault. But not.
They're going to have to wipe our fingerprints off.
I told you, don't wear a balaclava to this, okay? So I mean, look, there, as you say, then an ounce there. But then how much is it? How much is this?
That's an ounce as well.
That's an ounce as well.
Yeah. So that's the equivalent form, and we wanted to show that, so you can see that in terms of weight, they're the same.
One's prettier.
That's for sure. Exactly.
And that's 100 grams.
Yeah, so 100 grams is about $19,000-$20,000 an ounce now.
Yeah,
sorry, a bar.
So, and are you? I mean, obviously that's Swiss PAMP, but say 100-ounce bar of Perth Mint gold, equivalent to that. Is there much? Are you paying much of a premium?
Yeah, look, you probably do. I mean, so in recent weeks, the premiums have kind of been going all over the place.
Yeah.
Right. Some refiners have kind of increase their premiums to levels where we've never seen before. And I think that there's a lot of feedback and chatter throughout the industry and market about that. You do notice that there are differences in premiums from refiner to refiner and from brand to brand. Typically speaking, PAMP is on the higher end. Perth Mint, I would say, is in the middle. ABC used to kind of be at the entry point, but they're now kind of up the higher end as well. And so I think the question now becomes, on a personal level, what brand do you prefer? Right, and what are you prepared to pay for? If that makes sense. So if I can get an ABC product for the same price as a PAMP product, well, which one would you buy?
Mm-hmm.
Right? If you're interested in actually just getting something that represents real good value, but you want a solid brand, then the Perth Mint is a great option as well.
Well, you can mix and match as well, you know.
Absolutely, yeah.
And
There's
I
nothing wrong
think
with
that's what I from discussions I've had with our clients, I think that's what some of them I think will maybe buy. You know, they'll probably do the Perth Mint or the ABC, the cut or some of the cast bars, but I can definitely see them wanting to do, you know, maybe some 100 grams and things to actually have and touch and feel.
In some cases, the choice is actually kind of made for you, right? Because not all refiners make all the sizes in all the bars.
Yeah, right.
So as an example, Perth Mint don't do half kilo gold bars cast.
Okay.
They don't do 250 gram gold cast bars. ABC do.
Yeah, right. Okay.
Do you get what I mean? So we can't. Sometimes you can't pick and choose. Like at the moment, we don't get half ounce cast bars from the Perth Mint, but we do from ABC Bullion.
Yeah, right.
So you know, Perth Mint don't do 2.5 gram minted bars. PAMP does.
Right. Okay.
So
yeah, so I mean, there is a bit of selection there. I mean, obviously the website would be the easiest way to do it.
Yeah, look, I think a really good starting point is going to the website. We have a comparison tool in there, so you can pick the products that you want, and it'll basically show you price points, show you all the details of all the products, and you can compare.
And there's a really good education section you've got as well.
Yes.
Where, you know, how to get started and things like that. The reason we're doing the podcast is that no one likes to read anymore. So, so we just decided to come here and have it explained properly. But platinum as well, because it's one thing. Just from a geopolitical standpoint, Russia and South Africa are about 90% of the world's platinum. And if things kick off with which anything's possible with Mr. Trump and Mr. Putin in power, I think
True.
South Africa's probably just a bit of a passenger, to be honest.
Yes.
But they are two nations that President Trump really is enjoying picking on, and with Mexico with silver as well, which is another thing from a geopolitical standpoint.
Yeah.
I mean, when we see geopolitical, like Ukraine invasion, when those things flare up, generally gold will go higher. Silver actually is a bit more of a risk metal, is considered generally, and as is platinum. But if they were to go direct, you know, head on with with Russia particularly, there is no platinum. Like basically, there is, and if BRICS is successful, the two, the S and the R in BRICS, South Africa and Russia. So, can you do platinum as well?
Yeah, absolutely. So we do. The Perth Mint have an amazing platinum coin, Kangaroo and Luna series as well. Yeah, we can certainly do platinum.
Do they do bars as well?
They don't do bars.
Yeah, right. Okay.
They don't do bars, but I do know that PAMP do bars.
Right.
ABC Bullion do platinum bars in a variety of sizes as well. So yeah, there's a lot of options out there. It's really just a matter of, you know, pinpointing what it is they need.
Because remember when I started in markets in the 90s, like platinum was worth more than gold.
Yeah.
And now it's
I actually don't think people understand that. I actually think people think that platinum is more expensive than gold. And it kind of tells when you go to a jeweler and you say, hey, can I get a platinum ring? You know, they kind of price it up here when really they should be pricing it down here because gold is far more expensive. And what we've noticed as well is because we do sell and wholesale to the jewelry industry, we're noticing that a lot more people now are actually buying solid platinum rings instead of gold.
Well, that's 1 ounce.
Yeah, exactly.
So, and I'm, you know, but it's only what $1,550 US, so versus 4,000 in gold. So, you know, gold has definitely been the front runner of late. But those fringe metals do tend to, in the late stages of the rally, catch up. And particularly is one that, I mean, we've got it in a silver and platinum in a geopolitical strategy. We've got just because of those, because Trump was picking on Mexico, he was picking on Russia and South Africa particularly. And just that the supply disruption was the in case something did flare up between the nations.
I'll tell you what's happening anecdotally as well. We're noticing that when the price of gold continues to get to a point, we're noticing that a lot of investors are kind of wary of jumping in because they think it's overbought and it's too high. And so what they do is they still want metal. So what are they going to buy? They're going to buy silver or platinum. Yeah. And so we're kind of seeing a shift, and we noticed that in the last 3 weeks where people were going, okay, well, I've got enough gold now. I'm just going to go and buy silver. I'm going to buy platinum because I still think it represents really good value. And I think that trend might continue if the price of gold continues to do what it has done outside of the last 4 days, maybe.
Well, the last time gold went on a run like this, silver went, in the 70s, went 700%. Yeah. And I think 08 and to 11 was 400%. Where, you know, and I think so far we're at 70. So That's where I'm still cheering for the catch up. But platinum particularly as well. Again, there's a lot of industrial using massively using electronics. So it's just
much more difficult to mine.
And I don't think there's ever going to be an issue with supply chain with gold because there's lots in Australia.
So just going back to how you talked about the actual refiners have been caught out. So does it feel different this time? This kind of mania? I'm pretty sure you've seen.
Yeah, look, it does. So we've been involved in 3 manias since we kind of took over. So we were involved in the COVID mania, the silver squeeze mania, prior to this one, and even those ones, there was a level of craziness that was kind of acceptable. This mania is different. It feels different, and everyone that I've spoken to has said the same thing. Basically, we kind of are scratching our heads trying to understand why, and we ourselves don't really understand why. It's a combination of FOMO. So you see the news, people look at the queues and go, you know what, I better buy some before it runs out, right? And the reality is, I don't think it's actually going to run out. It's just taking a long time for them to produce the products that you have ordered, and it's really that simple. So, we're kind of seeing now this lingering aftermath where people have, in some cases, what's the term? They regret, buyer's remorse. They make the transaction, the price was too high, the price has now dipped, and they're like, oh, I shouldn't have bought it. Oh, it's taking a long time. Oh, no, what am I going to do? The reality is there's not much you can do. You just need to be calm. You're going to get your medal, the price will rebound, and everything will be fine. But a lot of the guys that are probably starting out don't realize that. And so it's probably a lesson learnt. Sometimes don't buy into the hype. And look at the reasons why you're doing it. Like the underlying reasons for bullion ownership have not changed.
No, and that's right. And I think the big thing is why the mania might be different this time is that in 2007, there was nothing wrong with the fiat currency system, but we printed our way out of trouble. Every central bank in the world.
We do it, yeah.
But then and then we were like, it's okay. We'll pay it. We'll calm the printing presses down. We'll deal with it over a decade, and then they were just getting back into check, and then COVID happened, and they printed their way out of trouble again. And I think this time around, everyone's just gone, we're getting to a precipice again where, because Trump makes an announcement every day, or 5 announcements every day that are like earth-shattering for any president prior. We know that something will eventually break, and then they'll print their way out of trouble again. And I think we're seeing the pattern again.
But I think this is what people are worried about.
Yeah.
People are worried, can they print their way out of trouble again? Like how much money are they going to print, and what impact is that actually going to have long term, right? Because you look at the last, maybe, I don't know, when was the last real, global financial crisis that we had? 2008?
Yeah, it would be.
Didn't really affect Australia much, did it?
The banking system here, albeit everyone hates it, the 4 pillars saved us, I would say.
I agree. So in Australia anyway, we haven't had one for quite some time.
Yeah.
Right?
Well, I don't think we had it. We didn't even have a recession.
No.
So we hold the world record
That's
for
right.
the longest ever unbroken
I think we're overdue.
Yeah. Well, yes.
I think we're overdue because how can everything continue to go up in price without a correction?
We have this talk with our clients all the time.
I mean, help me out. Maybe I misunderstand how the world works.
No.
I don't get it. I just don't get it.
And the sillier the rally gets, the bigger it busts.
Absolutely.
And,
absolutely.
And we're in the midst in the US equity market particularly, we're best 3-year rally since the mid 90s. And this is the fastest. So COVID, it dropped about 30%, but bounced out about 40%. We dropped 20% back in April. We're up 42% now. It's the best 6-month period after a 20% fall, and nothing's changed. Well, I think we've done 4 trade deals, maybe 5. So,
and none of them are in our favour.
Well, we're talking about the US particularly.
That's what I mean. Which one of them's a good? Which one of those 4 trades?
They're all minnows. I mean, Britain was hilarious. They were the first, and they were bragging about it. I was like, you do remember Brexit, right? Like, they'd be happy to do a trade deal with anyone.
Yeah, pretty much.
So yeah, but I mean, look, and that's what historically, when the world's uncertain, we tend to go back to these stores of values. So, and this has been super interesting in terms of, particularly how easy it is to buy, because I think people just had this impression that you couldn't just go to an online shop and do it. and they now know their
And you can,
options,
yeah,
and you
exactly.
can. It's super easy, and storage for gold probably a lot easier than silver, as we've probably learnt today, and the different types and things and different casting, and in a world where was it the La La Boo Boo, the stupid,
La Boo
La Boo Boo, or whatever it is, it's if you've got that collector's bug, you can do like the collectible coins and things as well, and what.
Well, on that front, something that might interest you, we actually did have Mickey Mouse silver coins.
Yeah, wow.
Yeah, so we have from time to time, we're getting these, look, they're not really collectibles. They're still bought and sold based on metal value.
Okay.
But the strikes are of, iconic figures. So we had Pez dispensers.
Yeah, right.
With the silver Pez's. We had Mickey Mouse. We had Marvel Comics, DC Comics with all the, all the characters in there. There's some pretty interesting ones that are coming pretty soon.
I would imagine, given there's a bit of mania, there'll be some pretty interesting ideas.
Well, we do them every year. I mean, the Perth Mint have an amazing range of modern issues, right? That's what we refer to them as modern issues. The premium above spot for modern issues is actually quite high because it is a collectible. It's not sold as a bullion product. But then there's a range of products that PAMP produce where we actually still sell them as metal based on bullion. So we've got things like the scarab beetle coming in, the Arabian horse, the falcon.
Yeah, right.
And these products are just incredible. Like, they look amazing. So for those that are wanting to kind of, not diversify, but are looking for something slightly different,
Oh, look, if it was me, when you're looking at buying kilos, there's no way I wouldn't buy at least one or two of these.
Yeah.
I mean, it's really hard to describe how beautiful this Swiss PAMP 100 gram is.
Here's something that I failed to mention as well. Like, one of the questions that we get a lot about the purchase of metal is what happens on the sale. But more importantly, if you buy a 1 kilo gold bar from us, when you want to sell it, you can only sell that bar once. You can't cut it in half.
Yeah, okay, yeah.
Right, because it's effectively not a kilo bar anymore. We'll buy it back for melt, which is way below what we would typically buy it back for.
Okay,
because it needs to be refined. So we don't encourage that, and in fact, in most cases, we don't buy that stuff back.
Right.
But what we do have customers doing is actually buying smaller bars. So they might buy 10 100-gram bars, right? If they kind of can foresee themselves in the future where they may not want to sell everything in one go. They might want to sell 3 or 4 at a time, or 2 or 1 at a time. Do you get what I mean? So
that's the thing,
selling
like,
is really important.
That's now, what did you say?
200 grams.
200. Well, I mean, it might have been more. I think it was 220. That might have been at 4,300.
That was 43, yeah.
Yeah, but I mean, like, not everyone's, not everyone's got 200 grand cash laying around. So,
that's right, yeah.
But yeah, so I mean, that's also a very good point. Being able to, when you're selling, you got to think ahead, because I didn't even think of that, to be honest. Even the clients that have asked us, they will likely probably buy smaller, and I guess that premium you were talking about for the smaller portions is probably justifiable in a way, because of that convenience.
Yeah, absolutely. Look, it is, and I mean, again, the other thing to consider is when you're buying the smaller bars, we typically have price breaks. So we do give incentives for customers to buy more in the smaller size. The premium, the cost of the product actually does come down.
Yeah, right.
And again, the best way to look at that is on the website. Everything is transparent. You can actually see what it costs you to buy.
Yep.
But you can actually see what we're buying it back for as well.
Okay.
So we offer full transparency from 1 gram gold up to as many kilos as you want to sell. No problem.
Okay. Well, thank you very much for joining us. This has been super interesting, actually. And it's not just lining up and walking out with a bar under your shoulder.
Exactly. Well, the thing is, look, I was a gold bug before, and here I am again.
Sorry, we didn't bring any silver down for you.
No, that's all right.
We're trying to convert you.
Silver's always the bridesmaid. I'm used to it. Like, we'll have our time. But thank you, Hercules, for Jaggards, and
thank you.
Go jaggards.com.au, and you can check out that online store, and and check out these great products if you want to have a go. But yeah, it's been super interesting. Thank you very much.
Thank you.
Appreciate you guys coming in and taking the time to talk to Jaggards.
Cheers. Thank you. All good. General advice warning. The content presented in this presentation is intended for informational purposes only and provides general advice only. It does not take into account your personal objectives, financial situation, or specific needs. This information should not be the sole resource when making investment decisions. We strongly recommend you seek the advice of a financial professional.